Hello, in this video, I'm going to talk about when you should eat protein. So the general recommendation for an average adult is to spread your protein intake out evenly throughout the day. Really, what it comes down to is we can only digest and absorb so much protein at once. So if we're taking in too much at one time, some of it's going to go to waste. So even though we might technically be eating enough protein to meet our protein requirements, if we're not digesting and absorbing it all because of when we're eating that protein, then we're really not meeting that recommendation. So ideally, we want to spread it out evenly throughout the day, including having protein with breakfast. A lot of people have more carb heavy meals at breakfast time and have more of their protein in the evening. But ideally, we want to have protein in the morning, especially if you're trying to lose weight, because eating protein is going to reduce your hunger and reduce cravings throughout the day. So if we start the day with a good amount of protein, that's going to help us manage what we're eating throughout the whole rest of the day. So ideally, we're aiming for 20 to 30 grams of protein at a time. So that could be in each meal or in snacks between meals. But we don't want to go really over 30 grams at once. It's not harmful to go over 30 grams, but if we're going over 30 grams, then the extra that we're having in that meal is really not going to good use. We're not going to be able to digest and absorb it as well as if we spread it out a little bit. So if we're trying to lose weight, protein consumption helps reduce appetite and cravings, as I mentioned, and it's hormonal. So when we eat protein, protein intake reduces our secretion of a hormone called ghrelin, which increases hunger. At the same time, it increases hormones that are appetite reducing, including glucagon-like peptide YY, and cholecystokinin. So those are three of our hormones that help to reduce our appetite, and it increases those so that we're less hungry throughout the day. So ideally, if you're trying to lose weight, spreading out your protein intake over the course of the day and maybe even having high protein snacks in between meals will reduce the total amount of calories that you'll consume in the day and the total amount of calories that you'll eat in each meal following a protein snack. If you are trying to build muscle, then it's really important that we have enough protein to support that muscle development. Now, when to eat that protein is highly debated in the fitness community. So there's kind of an old idea that there's this anabolic window that is within 15 to 60 minutes following your training session, meaning like your workout session or your strength training or whatever it is that you're doing. So it has long been said that we want to try to eat a dose of protein, so like 20 to 30 grams of protein in that anabolic window, 15 to 60 minutes following exercise. But more recent research has shown us that what constitutes that anabolic window is actually a bit larger than we previously thought. So now we know that if we're eating protein within 2 hours after exercise, that we get all the same benefits as when it's within 1 hour. So if it's within 2 hours, then just as good as within 1 hour. But it is ideal, it is optimal to make sure that we are getting that 20 to 30 grams of protein and possibly other carbohydrates and fats, depending on what your goals are. But we want to get that in within that 2 hours after exercise. If we're training in a fasted state, meaning you're training on an empty stomach, usually that would be like a morning workout and you're training before you eat breakfast. Then eating protein afterwards is especially beneficial, and the sooner the better in that case, so that you're not trying to recover from your workout in a fasted state. You want to replenish your body with protein so that you can recover with that protein. Protein consumption at bedtime is also recommended for anyone who is trying to build new muscle tissue or for older adults who are trying to prevent muscle tissue loss. So this is recommended whether you are strength training or not. So even for sedentary older adults it has been found that eating protein before bed does actually decrease sarcopenia, so loss of muscle tissue. So protein is digested and absorbed well throughout the nighttime while you're sleeping. So if you eat protein before bedtime, then you're giving your body some protein to digest and absorb and be able to use as building blocks to build new muscle tissue or to maintain the muscle tissue that you have in the event that you are trying to prevent muscle loss. So then a question I get a lot is, should I be taking a protein supplement? Well, that depends entirely on your protein goal, what you're eating outside of any kind of supplementation, and are you able to eat protein in the time frame that you need? So you should ask yourself these questions. The goal really should be to get all of our protein from real food whenever that's possible. So the only time that we want to take protein supplements is to meet two needs. So one would be if we need to close the difference between your protein goal and what you realistically can achieve by eating real food. So some people just have an aversion to protein-rich foods, and it can be hard for them to eat enough protein throughout the day. Or there could be a variety of different reasons. But if you're comparing how much protein you're trying to eat against how much you are really reasonably able to consume from food in the day, if there's a gap, then fill that gap, meet that need with protein supplementation. If you can meet that need with adding real food, then do that. That's always preferential. It's always preferable. Then the other reason would be if you need to ensure protein consumption in a specific time frame. So like I just discussed, if we were trying to make sure that we get protein within 2 hours after our workout, maybe you don't have access to go have a big chicken dinner or whatever it is. If you aren't able, because of kind of the logistical issues in your life, if you're not able to get a real meal full of protein, then that might be a good time to mix up a protein shake or have a protein bar after your workout to make sure that you're getting that dose of protein following your workout. So again, in general, I would say skip the protein supplements unless you need them for one of these two reasons. You just can't eat enough food to meet your needs, or you can't get a protein meal in the right time frame. So you might need to have a protein shake with you when you go to the gym because maybe you go straight to work or wherever else and don't have access at that moment. All right, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.